Hello, welcome to LearnDoBecome Radio. I've got my cute husband here.
Hello, everybody. We're not sure if I'm the cute husband or she has some other husband that's not as cute she keeps somewhere, so it's a little confusing.
Today we're talking about the values and the things that are most dear to us here at LearnDoBecome, because as we think about where we want to go in life and we want to be journeying alongside you, we just thought it would be great to kind of circle back and talk about the things that really do matter to us and the things we will be focusing on, the things we have been focusing on here at LearnDoBecome.
So if you've been with us for a while, this might be a little bit of a repeat, but it's actually not harmful, I think, to hear the things that are core to who we are, what we're about, for our own lives and here at LearnDoBecome as well.
There's a story that has stayed with me for over a decade. A friend of mine was running a half marathon, and she said when she got to the starting line area where all the runners were gathering, she was thinking about the time that she wanted to make in the race. And she's a competitive runner. She knew how to manage her time and watch, each mile and each minute. And as she was standing there thinking about how she was going to reach her goal, she heard a couple people talking, and they had the exact same goal that she did. And she thought, oh, instead of looking at my watch the whole time and doing math in my head or whatever, I could just run with them. And if I keep up with them, we're probably going to hit that target. And it wasn't, a do or die.
They probably thought she was stalking them the whole race.
I don't know if they even knew that she was watching them, but she was, which actually that's a good lesson in itself. That often we don't know that people are watching us, right? You don't know that. But when we can be clear about where we want to go, then other people might say, oh, hey, let's be friends. Let's do this together. And that's really what we're building here at LearnDoBecome. It's a community of fellow travelers. Eric and I were talking about it, how we don't feel like we are the expert in any of the areas we talk about.
Like in our RISE program, for example, we have 6 core areas that we focus on, talk about quite a bit. But we're not trying to say, oh, we know everything, we're the world's renowned expert in this or this area. But what we do is we study, we read, we learn from, people who are experts in each of those areas. And we try to, transmit that and reflect that. And so we hope that as our community comes together, we do that for each other. We are fellow travelers and just learning some of the best principles that we can find from each other so we can all become a little smarter, a little better.
And really, life is happier when you have good friends around you. And sometimes those are friends that are in person, but I feel like we have a lot of really good friends that are online. Eric and I talk about all the time.
You.
Yes, of course. And, the first thing that I do currently whenever I'm looking for a new friend or a new mentor is I find out or ask where they are personally trying to go. And I didn't used to do this. I would just find someone who had maybe one element of life that I was looking to replicate, like, oh, they've got a really clean house, or they have a really strong body, or they have a thriving business or something. And I always figured I could just learn that one element from them, even if their goals and values were different. And that's still true. I feel like we can learn from a lot of people who don't share all of our same values. But I've discovered that true friends and mentors really need to share my deepest values and goals, because otherwise I start comparing myself in different ways, or I maybe feel like I'm going off course because I'm following their example. And we influence each other for good or not for good. So anyway, I just thought, okay, let's just talk a little bit, because I don't want to be filled with stress and anxiety and exhaustion. And I don't constantly want to be discerning which advice is going to lead me in a good direction versus not. So I just think that I'm choosing friends and, mentors to work with, just their values really matter to me.
Yeah, well, I think we'll have a limited amount of physical and mental energy each day to give. And so I think comparison, they say, is the thief of joy, right? And so it's like looking around for people who, maybe you have an ability or a skill and learning from that, but it's not actually taking their whole life as a pattern and a model. And so, within LearnDoBecome, that's the whole principle, is we learn principles that are good, true, and helpful. We try to do those things consistently, learn to do those and create kind of a routine or a pattern for ourselves so it will influence and affect what we become. And so that's one of our, it's kind of a lifelong journey for me and April, that we love this idea of creating and nurturing and building and learning from this collaborative community at LearnDoBecome, because we are not the only ones that have the expertise and the ideas. And I love getting into, feedback we'll get in a variety of channels, Facebook posts, or messages that'll come into us, just sharing things that someone else has thought about. And we're like, wow, that's a really good idea, a really good insight. So we don't have a monopoly on all the expertise or all the good ideas. And that's what I guess we're trying to say is like, yeah, we'll try to curate and kind of help to build and strengthen this community, learning from lots of great thinkers out there. But it's not to say any one person has everything figured out. We should go pattern our lives exactly after person A, B, or C.
Yeah. And we're never going to find that perfect mentor that has everything we want in life. But I do think that having good friends and having that camaraderie together is really important. So there are a few phrases that we have used over and over and over again.
You may have heard these phrases before.
So I thought just speaking about those phrases might be a good way to start, and then we'll dive into the 6 areas that we focus on.
So one of the first is, and it's kind of the tagline of our website, Learn, Do, Become, Architect a Life of Excellence. And we have gotten a lot of back and forth about, is architect a verb? It's a noun, and it's also a verb. And so, you can check out a few dictionaries out there. They have it as both. But I love this idea of architecting or designing, dreaming, envisioning, and just thinking about what it is that you want your life to be. Because, architect and build a life of excellence really is at the core of what we're trying to do with this Learn to Become community. And do I give that example of?
Yeah. Well, as Eric and I were talking about, what to even name our website or what to have the tagline be. This has been the tagline for 8 years now. Nearly
and
8 years.
We've talked a lot about it. It's like, is this the best tagline? It's like, we could go with something else a little more catchy, a little more markety.
Yeah.
But I think it's more meaningful and purposeful because, I think us taking the time we have in mortality and trying to make and create the very best lives for ourselves and for the people we love is one of the most important parts of this mortal experience we're having. And so architect a life of excellence. I bring out the examples of, so many other things in our lives that we value have design and architecture in them. Like the home that you live in or the apartment, it has architectural and structural plans. The car that you drive has been designed and engineered and safety tested. There's a lot of thought that went into that. Even the clothing you're wearing right now was sewn to a pattern, or the food that you may eat is made to a recipe. But so often as human beings, as we're born and are educated and go throughout our work and our lives, there isn't maybe as much thought consistently put into the life we really want. We think a little bit, we dream a little bit, we have hopes and ideas. But the question is, can we be more deliberate, more intentional about designing and creating the blueprints, right? The design of the life that we really want, then building to it.
And it's all about putting ourselves in the driver's seat of our life and not seeing us as victims to everything that's going around outside. I think it speaks a lot to personal power. That's something we're talking about in our Rise this month is how much do you see like yourself, or how do you see yourself in the driver's seat, or how do you perceive your personal power? Do you feel like you don't have any power because it's dependent on politics or the economy or your employer or social media or whatever's going on? Or do you see yourself as actually being able to make decisions? And to be honest, I didn't quite understand what Eric was talking about with the phrase life architecture when we first started. But now, whenever I'm like frustrated with my life and I say, hey, Eric, I'm going to architect some changes in my life. And he just starts laughing because he wants me to do that. That's something that he encourages me to do every day. Like, why would you not architect your life?
And I'm not laughing at you or anything like that. It's just like laughing like, we should be able to recognize the challenges, the pain points, the friction in our lives. And as soon as we recognize it, okay, is there a way we can design it differently or change the structure of things in our lives, our situation, like take back some of that power? Because we firmly believe that you are an agent to act and not an agent to be acted upon or be reactive. And so in more of our lives than we sometimes believe, there's that ability to act and reshape things.
Right. And we see people doing that in our community literally every day. That's what's so motivating.
That's awesome.
About it. So the next phrase that we often use is to wake up excited and go to bed content.
And this is what I think both April and I have gotten on board with. Like, we just love this phrase. So I won't steal the show. I'll let her add her thoughts. But I love it because as you do some of the stuff that April's very passionate about, the third phrase is more April's. But we want people to be able to wake up excited about their day, about their lives, and go through their days in meaningful ways so they can finish the day. And as they wrap it up, they're feeling content, right? Because if you think about it, many humans, maybe most humans, wake up already feeling stressed, behind, worried, like gotta get moving, gotta like make stuff happen. And then they go through the day in a very hurried, frantic way. And then at the end of the day, they don't feel like they've made much headway at all. Maybe because they were heading down the path they didn't really choose. It wasn't to some design, or things came up and they couldn't, they felt like they had no control. They weren't in that driver's seat. So they go to bed discouraged, beaten down, tired, frustrated, and feeling like they didn't measure up or they're not enough.
Yeah.
And so we'd love to help in any way that we can, anybody who wants, change that situation so you are waking up excited. And then you go to bed content, knowing you get another day tomorrow, God willing, having another day to wake up excited and go about doing the things that you envision and plan. So,
well, and I used to believe that if there was something wrong, like if every relationship wasn't perfect, if things were wrong in the world, if people you love were suffering, if you were sick, like if anything was wrong, that it was, like disingenuous to just wake up excited. Like, well, I shouldn't be excited. I should feel sad. I should be mourning. I should be anxious, because that shows how much I care about the people in the world, the people in my life. But if you use that logic, then there's going to be suffering every day. Then therefore all of us should wake up suffering,
struggling
every day
and mourning.
Right. And so as I've done a lot of, work over the years, I've been learning there's opportunity for all of us to do good. But that's why we wake up excited, because we can be agents for good, even though there is suffering. Like a bunch of depressed people aren't going to be
we may not be able to solve all the world's problems in one day or in that one situation. Yeah. But if you're thoughtful and focused on a few things that you can influence, and if everyone in the world did this, a lot of the challenges and problems would minimize, and perhaps some could be even eliminated.
Right.
But it's that idea of waking up with the intent of doing what you can do in a meaningful way, and it's according to your values and your design.
That's exciting. And then the third phrase is create simple systems so you can do what matters most. And this is where Eric says it's more my phrase, because I like systematizing things.
Organization, productivity, routine, systems.
Well, it's not that I think routines and checklists and systems are fun in themselves, but it's because it's what it enables me to do.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we work with a congregation of about 1,000 students who live nearby, and we put together these events where they come to our home in smaller groups. Well, I created a system that was like a special Google form they'd fill out, and here's where I just, have a little list of who's coming when, and here's how I text them, and here's how I remind them, and here's how we set it up. And we have a checklist for when they're going to come over, what things we need to get out as some snacks and some stuff like that.
Systematized.
But because I put the effort into doing that, then we can hold these events often, and it's not a huge deal.
And actually, they're a lot more fun than maybe we're making it sound, because these are 18 to 20-year-old college students.
Yeah.
We want them to be able to come off of their college and academic and social experiences and just come into our home and have some time with us. We can just talk about their lives, their plans, their dreams. Yeah, have some fun, play some games, serve some refreshments and stuff. And so with this system in place, we're able to have, when they all show up and follow through, because that's the hard part, right? Dealing with other people, especially teenagers and young adults, it can, they're still working on some things.
Well, they're so cute.
But when they all show up, we may have 40, 50, 60 young adults coming through our house, like in 2 different little sessions. And it's so much fun because, the system April's put together allows things to be ready, a few basic things we need for the activities, a little bit of basic refreshments. And they just come over and, it's an hour and a half plus that we spend with each group, and just really connect and just be able to be a resource to them. And we get so much from them as well, like their insights, their energy, and just, some perspectives on life and the world that, again, these kinds of things that as we architect them and then build create a system or routine around it, it really can open the doors for some really sweet experiences.
So whether it's something like community activities or family events or holidays and birthdays or vacations, or it's your work. I mean, I have a system for the podcast, the step-by-step of how it goes from planning to recording to editing to posting and scheduling and, sent out. There's all these parts to it. And if I had to look at every part separately, it would be incredibly overwhelming, and I'd maybe do one podcast a year. But because we have a system, then we can just record as it works for us, and it just starts feeling easier. And so this is where I get really excited. And with our Steps to Everyday Productivity program, where we have people who come in and learn the systems, it's just fun because it's not the system itself. It's that it's going to unlock your energy to do what you believe matters most. And I think that's what then contributes to waking up excited and going to bed content, because you're doing what matters most to you. And then as you do that consistently, now you're architecting your life of excellence, so they all kind of come together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, is it okay if I touch on the 6 areas of Arise?
That's what we're going to jump into next.
Okay.
Just do that. So basically, we have a membership called Arise. It's an awesome community.
And we're not here promoting it, but we just want to make people who are listening to the podcast aware of it, because it's an incredible community, an amazing group of people.
Well, I would say we are promoting it but here's the thing. I was talking to Spencer the other night, and he wants to start a business. He said, Mom, I'm just afraid to ever ask someone to buy something. But he said, but you're out there just doing shameless plugs. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
Shameless plug.
He said, well, do you feel shame when you invite people into your programs? I said, no. He said, see, shameless plug.
There's no shame in it at all.
So basically what we're saying is we have a lot of things that are free here at LearnDoBecome, because we want to be able to support individuals, whether they have, the means to be able to
buy a program or be part of something financially or not.
But we do have awesome programs. STEP and Arise are two programs. So.
Well, I can say, and if you're just coming to LearnDoBecome, check out some of the things that we have. There's a lot of articles, the podcast, a number of things that are there. But if one of these things that we offer, we've talked a lot of this over the years too, we are not here to sell anybody anything. Mm-hmm. What we want to do is create some really meaningful things, some programs and products that will teach and help you develop skills on your own. And this Arise membership, but what we do is create these things and then we offer them. And if they are a fit and they resonate with the people who are checking something out or needing that thing in their life, then we would love to have you be part of things. So no promotion, no sales, but an offer. If what we're doing at LearnDoBecome, if what we offer and focus on in Arise really matters to you, because what's interesting about these 6 areas, I'll just share them in a second, but they're actually overlaps. They're probably the 6 most core areas of things that April and I care the most about. So she goes deeper into some, I go deeper into others. But it's actually a really fun overlap with us as a couple and in our lives, in our family, our community, and the things that we do in our lives. It's really at the core of what we really value. So I'll kind of read them from bottom to top order as I kind of look at them. As you look at the Arise page, it's learndobecome.com/Arise. But literally, there's 6 areas. And I love the first one at the bottom, that it's really this idea of discovering your unique purpose, right? And living it. And so it's just kind of getting a greater clarity about who you are, your identity, your purpose, and then building from there, right? The architecture comes out of that, really. And then it's capped off by the top one, which I'll get to at the end. But as you're doing that, there's maybe 2 areas I'd put in that kind of circle on the lower half of the circle. They're kind of in pie shapes, if you're trying to visualize this. I'm getting this all confused.
They're like, what are you talking about?
Whoa. Imagine, if you will, a circle with 6 pie shapes in it.
Yeah.
At the bottom pie shape is this discover and live your unique purpose. And then maybe next to it is this idea of creating a calm, organized, uplifting environment. That's a lot of what April really focuses on. The STEP program, the organization, productivity, routines, systems, just doing it in a simple way to make your life happen much easier than maybe it now is. Then off to the other side, that bottom half of the circle, the bottom 3 pie pieces, is achieving financial security so that you can enjoy the quality of life that you want and then eventually give back. So again, that kind of puts the structure down. You have purpose, you have an environment that works for you, you have the finances and resources you need. And then kind of stepping up in the top half of the circle, you're seeing strong, happy family and healthy relationships being built, right? So home, family, friends is really coming into focus. You're also seeing your own mental and physical health and well-being increasing. So those are 2 areas of Arise that we'll focus on as we go through. And then, at the very top is just drawing closer to your higher power. And at LearnDoBecome, we're there for everybody, regardless of your beliefs or values or the faith system you may or may not have. But we believe in a higher power. And for us, it's God, and trying to understand how he would direct us and guide our lives. And that factors very strongly into the architecture we build for our lives. But again, each Arise member, each LearnDoBecomer has that ability to define that for themselves. But what's beautiful is as you move from purpose and then having that environment and that financial security, it moves you into stronger family and interpersonal relationships, helping increase your mental and physical well-being, and then, drawing closer and being maybe more guided and inspired by your higher power. And we love these 6 areas, we're passionate about them. We love learning from other experts and people out in the world who have great insights and perspectives. But that kind of becomes the core and the focuses of Arise. And we just love being able to talk about that and learn and grow together.
So as you're considering if you want to be friends with us,
that's who we are.
I just think it's able to focus on these. And, Eric and I have been reading this book written by Arthur Brooks and Oprah Winfrey that came out called Build the Life You Want. I'm almost done with the book, but they essentially talk about if you're chasing fame and fortune and praise and, like material wealth, you're really not going to be happy. Those kinds of things will never satisfy you in full. Having financial security is important, but having just a whole bunch of stuff and being famous really isn't what satisfies you. But the things that they list they have 4 things. So they said it's faith, family, friends, and purposeful work. And so I looked at that and thought, that's very similar to what we're doing. We're just adding in the financial security and the health, really. Like those are the 2 areas that are maybe a little bit different.
Meaningful work probably pulls in the finances.
Yeah, I could think kind of all pulls together. And of course, you don't have to have a clean house to be happy, but that's not really what the calm, organized, uplifting environment is all about. Like, I personally don't care if your house is perfectly clean or organized or not. You're the one that lives in it. This is totally up to you. I'm not, going to come around and monitor anybody. But I do care that your mind feels clear, because so many people don't even have the mental capacity to read books, to think about their future, to even think about purpose, to sit down and make that budget, to build the relationship, to spend time with the people that they care about. Because we end up spending a whole lot of time maybe on social media or procrastinating or binge watching things. And then we just feel this sense of overwhelm and feel like, I just can't solve everything. But we just believe that if we can take the time that we would have spent in distraction, procrastination, overwhelm, and invest that time into these 6 categories, these 6 areas, you just start to notice a difference. You start to notice all of a sudden you're waking up a little more excited every day. You notice that you're getting along better with the people in your home. You notice that you're not as stressed about finances. And then pretty soon you're able to have more and more to be able to give and to be able to help other people. And so it's not an overnight flip the switch, but this is what we've been working on our marriage. We're still working on it. And we're just grateful for the chance to be able to work alongside you, because I just think it matters that we're working together. I think it's amazing that we have a technology that Eric and I are sitting here in our living room right across from each other. He just got these new microphones so that they're Bluetooth and we can both talk at the same time without sitting right next to the microphone.
It makes it a lot more comfortable.
It makes it a lot more comfortable because we've been trying to figure out how do we podcast together in a way that doesn't feel super just rigid and too structured, where then we're all stressed out. So
bad news for all you podcast listeners. I may be on more of these podcasts as we go forward into the future. So my apologies in advance.
Well, I just think it's amazing that people who care about one another can actually connect over the internet from countries all around the world. That's pretty amazing.
I think what April was saying as well, like it's been a journey and it continues to be a journey for us. Like this year, we'll celebrate 25 years of being married. This poor girl has put up with me for 2.5 decades.
You're my best friend.
But it's been a journey from meeting and dating, courting, getting married, figuring out our roles and our life together, and starting our family and raising them and then providing for them through work, other opportunities, and just managing, being connected in our community. So it's been a process, and it is the same for you, right? The way that you live your life. And there have been times we have been like, it felt like overwhelmed, kind of frazzled. But, as we've gone throughout, we've tried to figure out better and better ways to step back and be able to have this perspective, to be able to create some architecture around the life that we want or wanted to get to. And then little by little, I want to make sure it's very clear, like things for us don't and haven't happened overnight. But I think there's that idea of like intentionality with like a vision and a plan, like that architecture, and then being consistent and just little by little working toward it. You'll be amazed what your own human capacity is. And then if you believe in a divine, role or help in that, like little by little with intention and purpose, like it is incredible where you can build and get to. And what I love about our risers and our LearnDoBecomers, like everyone has different things they're working toward. We're not going to tell you what your architecture should look like. We'll talk about it generally and talk about, ideas and principles that'll help you discover and really define what you want yours to be. But once that architecture is in place, that design is in place, you can consistently invest effort and you will be amazed to see how your life the life and influence on others, and just your overall experience, the outcomes, the accomplishments and achievements that are meaningful to you, they really can be realized. And that's, I mean, you probably hear a little bit of passion in my voice about that, because that's what I care about. I care about people discovering truly who they are, their identity, their purpose, and then establishing their priorities based on that so they can have their most meaningful life here. And for me, I believe in a life after this, to be able to really have this life be meaningful to lead into that. And so I get excited about that. You'll hear us talking about a lot of these kinds of topics in the podcasts, and some of the posts that we'll do on the internet, social media. And we're excited to be able to share some of the coolest stuff that we find and come across, or things that we've felt or thought about, share them with you, and then let you and invite you to please share back the things that you're learning, the ways that you're growing, so we can all, be enriched together and grow closer to our true potential.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. It's really a blessing. It's our privilege to get to be with you. And we hope that you will be excited to come visit us, join us, come be part of the community at LearnDoBecome. There are some great ways to connect. If you just go to LearnDoBecome.com/connect, you can get links to our podcast, our YouTube channel, Arise, our STEP program, a free community Facebook group. We've got some great ways to be able to just be part of this experience together.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or needs of us, feel free to reach out on social media. We have an incredible community support team that can help you or get some messages to us where needed. And you can just email them at email@learndobecome.com. And we're very excited to just keep building and growing this incredible community of learners and doers and becomers. So thank you for being part of that.
All right. Take care. We'll see you soon.